So this is interesting. Okay, I saw this and I was like, oh my god, fascinating. Okay, so when the mass graves were exhumed or discovered centuries later and were found, they found in some of the graves had some of the skulls that they found in the graves had large pieces of rock clamped between the jaws, apparently called a shroud eater. So apparently during an epidemic or a pandemic or what do you want to call it? Because if you think about mass grave, they're covering it and opening it and covering it and opening it. Sometimes the digger would come on an old bloated body with blood seeping from its mouth with a hole in the shroud that covered the face. But in the 16th century, they didn't know that those were like gases, that bloated up the person, and then the organs would pop and burst and blood would come out. And it was just perfect, like different times of decay, like when they would have opened it and when the person died. And so they didn't realize that. So when they saw that, they thought they were a vampire and they had been sucking the blood of everyone underneath. That's why they got so big. They had all that blood inside them.
Oh, that's perfectly sensible.
So, you couldn't just stab them in the chest. No. You had to take a stone or a brick and shove it in their mouths so they starved to death.
And made a big poppy stinky mess because they're.
But here's the thing, like, if you really think that they're sucking the blood of people, and you think that putting a thing in their mouth would starve them, do you not think they could take that out of their mouth? You know what I mean? Could they not lift their hands and pull that from their mouth? I don't know.
They're leaving the grave and then they're coming back to the grave and putting their shroud back on. Okay.
Yeah. No, they're sucking the blood out of the people that were in the grave.
Oh, okay.
So they think that they're in the grave just sucking the blood out of all the dead people and just laying there all fat from it.
If they're dead, it's okay. I don't care. If they're vampires,
but they thought
I know.
if they're just sucking the blood from people that are already dead, I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah.
But they didn't want them coming out getting hungry once those other people were all drained and coming to get them. So they shoved that brick in their mouth and then they ain't gonna come after anybody. Apparently.
It's just thinking about like how people thought back then.
I know.
Silly.
It's so funny. Like we talked about consumption and tuberculosis, how they thought they were vampires too because of the coughing of blood and the pale skin and all. So the same thing, or they thought that they were drinking all the blood of these dead people, laying in there, getting really fat from it, and living their best life with all these decaying bodies. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's the story.
They're getting the physique that they wanted back then was the plump.
Yes.
Oh no, you're dead. You're not supposed to get that. You're supposed to die.
So, they've actually tried to sell the islands on several occasions. The sale never goes through. Somehow falls through, and I think you shouldn't be selling that. Like, no one should be living on there. Just leave it be. Let it just go. I think
they should have it like a memoriam or like a museum type thing, and let people go and see it and be terrified and leave. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea too.
People sneaking on, but I think that they should open it up for like tourism to the point where it's historical. It's like a historical landmark, because it is. It's part of history. It's fascinating, the whole like plague thing, and but terrible and terrifying. If the haunted thing.
Well, I know that on one of the other islands, one of the Lazarettos, they had one of the nearby islands that they were putting people at first. They were trying to turn that, I think they said they were trying to turn that hospital into a museum, and that's when they found some of the bodies and they stopped excavating and they all left, like the people. But I think too, also, if you think of different cultures, have a lot of superstition around things, so digging up a grave would be really bad. They weren't going to do that.
Very superstitious, yeah.
And that's why, they don't want people on the island. For one, like, the condition of the buildings probably isn't safe. But two, there are a lot of dead people, a lot of people buried here. Let's not disrupt it. But why would you sell it? Like, I don't get it. And let people build a house on it. Like, how rude.
Yeah, let's dig our our cellar. Oh, there's lots of corpses here. Maybe this isn't the right spot to do that.
I know. And I'll show for the picture of the corpses, the amount of them, and just one of the places they dug up, and you're going to be like, oh my God. And that's basically the island is made up of dead people. It's just made up of, between the soil from the ash of all the people that were burnt. Corpses. And the rotting corpses, and then the skeletal remains, where it's kind of spilling out into the water, and plus it's basically made up of humans, skeletal, and matter. It's awful. So that's the history of the Poveglia Island.
Plague Island.
The Plague Island.
I didn't know anything about it. I'm very.
Oh,
yeah, I never heard
exciting.
Of it before. Yeah.
You know, I always get distracted doing these ones when we're not in the same room. I don't know why. It's really weird. I feel disconnected. So I always feel like I either rush through it or talk extra fast because I feel so disconnected from you.
No, I yawned a bunch and I apologize. But I also was at Renee's this weekend and, you know, you're traveling and I've been in the car for 2.5 hours today and it sucked a little bit, you know.
Well, Margaret. What email address can they send their ideas or share stories with us to?
Oh, yeah. Send us any of your stories or any questions you might have or hit us up at thecousinsweird@gmail.com.
And you can follow us on Facebook and TikTok, on YouTube, and Instagram at The Cousins Weird. And we do our regular episodes release every Monday. And then we do our Terrible Trends episode, release on Thursdays. And we go live when we record our Terrible Trends. As long as we can be in the same room together,
I know.
we can go live, and you can watch that while we record, or you can listen to it on Thursday when it releases.
And the Terrible Trends are mini episodes.
Yes, they're minis.
They're short and sweet, and maybe not so sweet, but fun, yeah. And,
yeah, they're fun.
And terrible.
It's just fascinating to think about the weird stuff people did. And you know what? If you think about it in 50 years, people are going to be looking back at us right now going, how dumb were they? How stupid were they?
People might
they thought that was a good idea? They really thought that was going to help them? That's what's going to happen. How dumb. So it's just, you know.
All the people that are social, influencers that are millionaires just from YouTube.
I know.
And TikTok.
Exactly.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. Do what you got to do. Speaking of which, you should go follow us on all those things.
Yes.
And check out our link tree in the description here. You can find out, you don't have to memorize all the things we told you. You can support us on our Buy Us a Coffee page. It's the links in there. And you can find our website and our merch. And all our things are located in there. So you don't have to memorize any of it. We have it one neat little spot for you. Yeah, I hope you have a great week.
Yes, we hope you stay freaky.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.
Bye.